Good morning, students. Today, we are going to use our number dot frame cards to talk about how in the world we can put numbers in order. And this is something that we've been working on even before spring break. And it has been challenging, although we've made really great progress in this. And the very last time that we did this activity together in class, you were able to put all of the numbers in order with very few mistakes. So that's really awesome. So what I want to do today is talk a little bit more about these and really focus on the dots today. And so I'm going to put all of these back, and I'm going to talk about the numbers probably in sets of 5, and then I'm just going to continue on. So the first number is 0. And 0 is probably the easiest one because of course 0 means nothing. If I have 0 Oreo cookies, then I have nothing, right? Try to line those up so I can get my... Now I want you to notice that when I put one dot down next to the 0, that if I covered this dot up, I would also have nothing on this frame. Do you see that? How if there were no dot on there, that it would be the same as this 1. So 1 is just one more dot than 0, which is why they come next to each other. That's why they stand next to each other on the number line when we put our numbers in order. Let's grab another number. Now we know this number, we know it is 2, but I want you to look at the dots compared to the one before it. If I cover up this dot, do you see how 1 and 2 both have one dot? And that this card comes next because we've added one more dot. So numbers go in order because the one after it has had one more dot added to it. And so if I were just to stop here at 0, 1, and 2, and I was thinking about the 1, I would say that 0 comes before the 1, going back to the 1, 2 comes after. Because if I were to take this one dot away, I would have the number before. And if I were to add one more dot to the 1, I would have the number after. Does this make sense? Okay, let's move on. Let's look at the next card. The next card is the number 3. Scoop these down just a bit. 3 is the next number because if I were to cover this dot up, do you see that there are 2 dots just like these 2 dots? And so one more dot means I have 3. And so these numbers are in order because for each one, I have added one more dot to 0, one more dot to 1, one more dot to 2. And so now I'm looking for the card that if I were to cover up the dots has 3, just like this one. And look here, I've got it, it's number 4. And so 4 looks like this. It is almost a whole 5 frame on top. Now, I'm going to push these cards up a bit. They're not totally out of the picture. I want to still be able to see them a bit. Sorry, I'm looking at my camera a little bit backwards from you. And I want to think what would come next. Well, if I added one more dot, I would completely fill that 5 frame up. And I would have the number 5. Do you see how 5, if I were to cover up the last dot, has 4, just like the number card 4? And so 5 is one more dot, and it comes right after the 4. In fact, I might even be able to put it right up here so that you can see it. There we go. So the whole 5 frame is full. And now, if I get one more dot, I'm looking for a 5 frame with one more dot. Oh, look, here's a 5 frame with one more dot. If I took this dot away, would it be the same as 5? Yes. And so the number that comes after 5 is 6. 6 comes after 5 because it has one more dot than 5. Let me see if I can get this just a little backed up. Kind of, sort of. Hold on one sec. Let me try to move this camera over just a bit. There we go. 6. Now, after 6, I'm looking for one more dot. So I would have a whole 5 frame and 2 more dots. Oh, look, a 5 frame and 2 more dots. Well, let's check it out. If I cover this dot up, do these two look the same? Do I have a 5 frame and one more dot? Yes, I do. So since one dot has been added, 7 comes right after 6 when I'm counting. So now I'm looking for a number that has a 5 frame, 2 dots, and one more dot. So there'll be 3 dots underneath the 5 frame. Look, here's a 5 frame with 3 more dots. If I got rid of the very last dot, would these two 10 frames look the same? Oh, there's a 5 frame, 2 dots, 2 dots. Yes, they would. So 8 comes right after 7 because one more dot would give us 8. So I hope that you're able to see as we go through this process that these numbers go in order, not because there's anything magical about them, but because the quantity that they represent means that one more dot has been added to the one before it to give us the next number, okay? Now I'm looking for a card that has a 5 frame and 4, almost a full 5 frame on the bottom. And look here, I have a whole 5 frame on top and almost a full 5 frame on the bottom. Let's see, if I were to get rid of this last dot, would I have a 5 frame and 3 dots? Look, there's the 5 frame and 3 dots. So this number, which is 9, is the next number. Now I'm looking for a full 10 frame. Look there. If I were to take away that very last dot, I would have a 5 frame and 4 on the bottom. One more means 10. And so our numbers go together in this order, not just randomly out of sequence, but on purpose, because as you can see by looking at each of the 10 frames, the next numbers have kept that same group, but they've added one more dot. Every time we're adding one more dot. And so we're gonna work on that sequence of numbers. Pretty well we have it from 0 to 10. But I'm going to pick these cards up now, and I wanna really focus on numbers that are greater than 10. So I'm going to put our 10 up here by our 0, because I know that you pretty well have these numbers to 10. What we really need to work on are these 10 and more numbers. We call our teenagers, our teenage numbers, or our tens family, 10 and more numbers, or a tens family, because they have a whole 10 frame plus some more. I'm going to see if I can adjust my blinds to get rid of some of the shadow. Oh, looky there, on the table. There we go. That's much better. Okay, so I have a whole 10 frame, and the number I'm looking for next has one more dot. So we're starting another 10 frame. I want you to look at this card. Do you see the 10 frame that this number 10 has? If I were to take away this one dot, these two would be exactly the same. So since there is one more dot on this card, this number comes next. And now I'm dealing with numbers that are 10 and more. They are our double 10 frame cards, our tens family. Do you see I've got a whole 10 frame and one more? And in the number I have a 10 and one more. That's a pretty easy way to think about it. So now I'm looking for a whole 10 frame, and not only one, but if I add another dot, I'll have two more. Look at this number. Do you see the whole 10 frame and two more? Ah, if I cover up this last dot, this 10 and 1 looks like this 10 and 1. Another way to think about it is if I don't think about the 10 frames, doesn't 2 come right after 1? So remember, we've talked about how every 10s family, 20s family, 30s family, they all have the same pattern. They start with the 10, and then we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is the last person in that family before it starts a brand new group of 10. So we have 10, 1, 10, 2. What do you think will come next? Oh, look. I have a 10 and 3. If I cover up this dot, do these dots here match these dots here? 10 and 2 more. I see 10 and 2 more. So one more dot means this number comes next. Now we don't call the numbers 10, 1, 10, 2, and 10, 3. They have names, but it is what they mean. 10, 1 is 11, 10, 2 is 12, and 10, 3 is 13. When we get to the next numbers, we can hear them just a little bit more. Now I'm looking for the next card in line that has a 10 frame with 3 and one more. That means there will be 4, almost a whole 10 frame. Let's look at this card. Do you see a 10 frame? Do you see almost a full 5 frame? Let's check it out. If I cover up this last dot, are these two cards the same? Look, I see a 10 frame and a 10 frame. I see 3 and 3. So one more dot means this card, 10, 4, which is 14, comes next. You're doing such a good job. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. So now the number that will come next is a number that has a whole 10 frame and a whole 5 frame after that, because one more dot will fill this frame up. Let's look. Do you see a 10 frame that is full on top and a 5 frame that's full on the bottom? Let's check. If I cover up this last dot, do I have 10 and 4? Let's see. 10 and 4. That means 10, 5, or 15 comes next in line. Excellent job. So now that I have a 10 frame that's full and a 5 frame that's full, I'm looking to fill this last 5 frame on the bottom. That means I'm going to have one more dot down here in this next frame. Let's check this number out. I see a 10 frame that's full. I see a 5 frame that's full. And look, one more dot. Let's check it out. If I cover this up, will I have a 10 frame and a 5 frame? I will, which means 10, 6 comes next after 10, 5, because it has one more dot. Now, we don't call this number 10, 6. We think about it as 10 and 6, a 10 rod and 6 ones, but we call it 16. 16. So now I'm looking for a card that has a 10 frame, a whole 5 frame, and not one dot in this bottom frame, but 2. Let's look at this card. I see a whole 10 frame and a whole 5 frame, but 1, 2, 3. 3 is close to 1. Do you think that this card comes next? Is this number one more dot than 16? Oh, of course not. I can't trick you. This one has 2 more dots, so it cannot come next. Let's try another card. Oh, boys and girls, check this card out. Do you see that this 10 frame is full and this 5 frame is full and there are 2 more dots on the bottom? Let's check it out. If we cover up this last dot, are these cards the same? 10 frame, 10 frame, 5 frame is full, 1 more dot, 1 more dot. Guess what? 10, 7 comes next. We don't call it 10, 7 though, we call it 17. Looks like we are almost finished, boys and girls. Hang in there. I am so proud of you. You're doing a great job. I'm looking for the card that has a whole 10 frame, a 5 frame that's full, and now not 2 dots. 1 more dot would make it 3. Where did I see that? I know, it's the card I just had. Do you remember we looked at this card? We said there was a 10 frame, a 5 frame that was full, but it had too many dots to come after 16. But look, if I cover this last dot, are these 2 numbers the same? 10 frame, 10 frame, 5 frame, 5 frame, 2 dots, 2 dots. Look, 10, 7, 10, 7. 1 more dot comes next. 10, 8 comes after 10, 7. But we don't call it 10, 8. We call it 18. Now these last 2 are pretty easy because our 2 10 frames are almost full. So we are looking for 1 more dot, and I only have 2 more cards. Which one has only 1 more dot? Let's see. Well, 1 more dot would not fill up my 10 frame, so it can't be this one. I'm gonna set this one down. Let's cover up the last dot. Are these 2 cards the same without this last dot? I think they are. I see a 10 frame and 5, 6, 7, 8 on the bottom. So 1 more makes 10, and 9, which is 19. And one more dot gives us 2 whole 10 frames, which is 20. So boys and girls, I want us to start at 10, and I want us to count forward all the way to 20, and we are going to count backward from 20 all the way to 10. Are you ready? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and back. Are you ready? 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10. You've done such a great job today. I hope that that makes sense. And if you are able to print those number and dot frame cards, then you can cut apart your own and practice them at home. If not, do not worry about it. We will do plenty more counting activities here at school. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.